There we go. All right. As you know, my name is Kelly Mabel, and I'm happy to be here. And you are now under the recording button. If you so choose to stay in the room, you need to press yes to that. Zoom has created some logistics for us to be more authentic, and that's a great thing. So I just want to say that this morning I have all friends in this room. Like there's big rooms and there's people I don't know rooms and there's experiences where other countries come and they bring a lot of friends and they come into the room and this class is just amazing because I happen to have somewhat of a personal connection with everyone here. And so I just love that you've all made the time. And our dearest friend Rob Cook is in the house. And Rob, I know your camera's off, and I'm just curious if everything's okay with you. Are you on? Are you on board? Because I'm
I,
ready for you, man.
look, I was looking like, why don't I see myself on there? I got these two monitor things. I thought it was something. I'm glad you said that. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was like, wait, I'm not even. Okay.
So we got Rob Cook on deck today, and I'm really excited to have him here. We had a conversation, God, a month ago, and we just, I shared with him. I said, I really want you, but I have to say to you, like, I'm not an interviewer. Like, I'm not a host. Like, I don't have those skills. And, Rob was sharing his story before I had said these things and said, oh yeah, this is just what I want to be. I was dedicated to seeing that this was for me and this is where I wanted to go. And I'm like, oh. And then we talked about a story where a woman, very popular interview that was coming with a very popular actor, and this woman absolutely butchered the conversation due to lack of listening. And I walked away from that conversation, Rob, and I learned so much, even from just being there.
Yeah.
That, making up the story of what I thought I needed to be, and realizing, I guess this, thought has been doing this for like almost 11 months now. So clearly it hasn't affected what's happening.
That is
Excuse me.
so funny. But I just heard that story again in class last weekend. The
Yeah.
story is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go
No,
ahead.
you go. No, please
The,
just go. Yeah.
the story is it was either George Clooney or one of those A-list like celebrities like that, and so he was engaged, and he figured he was coming to the red carpet for either the Emmys or one of those award shows that he was going to drop breadcrumbs, and whichever red carpet host and network caught the breadcrumb, they would get the break of the story of his new engagement. Well, typically on the red carpet, what you're trying to do is the red carpet is all for money. It's for the artist or the creator to share what they're wearing and almost like a media, like I'm in Dolce Gabbana. This was created for me because I'm so cute and I'm so special and blah blah. All that stuff, right? And what happened was he said they were like, "Hey George, or who I think it was him, but I can't remember that artist. But it's that level." And they was like, hey, what do you do before the show? And he was like, well, for this show in particular, I was around celebrating, having drinks with close friends and family. And then the interviewer goes, oh, that's great. So what shoes you got today for us? And what are you wearing? And what? So the producer is running because he hears it. He's running, trying to get to her before, they're only about 30, 45 seconds in this pop. They're gone. They're just from each network, and you're there with your mic, with your network, and if you don't get it, it's gone. And the next network broke the story of his engagement. A lady lost her job, and because our community is so small, the lady who broke the story, everybody knew she got a $50,000 bonus and was given a national hosting gig. So it was like not only did she learn not listening, she also saw what the other person got from listening. And I haven't seen her in I don't know how long. We don't even talk. It's not even spreading around the community that much. But yeah, that was one of my first lessons in. Oh shit, I better learn how to listen. Yeah, so
And I really took that because I realized that's really all I need to do here, is to be part of the room with a listening ear and an open heart. And it's one of the reasons why, while having that conversation with Rob, I was able to really fall into a place of listening to what he was doing, and to what he was. You can see people out there, but having a one-on-one conversation allowed me to really see his beautiful heart, his amazing humor, and the things that he really has as, I won't call it a mission, but a true direction to. If his GPS is pointing him, he's very clear on which way it's going. And so I love that you're here in this room, A Kind Mind. And, I got questions. I want to know about, what do we say? The man, the myth, the legend.
None of that. It's none of that.
I want to know about I think
It's
sometimes.
more of a dumbass dude who woke up. That's kind of like that's more. That's more of what it was. A dumbass dude who woke up. It was definitely not a man, myth, legend story. It's like, what you did? What? Like, what? Yeah.
Yet in that place where you came alive to yourself or had
Yeah.
awareness, there was a pre-story
Hmm.
of experience, the experience that you had in your life and what was unfolding for you. And then there was some sort of understanding or directional change or shift, and what I call is strength. Something came,
Hmm.
and then that has given you where you are now, which is what I call the hope you're sending to the world with the message of your podcasts and the things that you're doing for 3PGC. And if you don't know this man, he's been around. He's been around and in the rooms and spreading his love all over the place with his podcasts. We're listening with his experience of his story and just being a human, a human in motion. And so, I don't know, man. You can decide how you want to work the room, how you want to do it. Like,
Okay.
I don't
So
want to dump
I
the
I
experience.
actually don't do this often, Kelly, but
I know.
I was super excited to be here, so I even wrote some notes. Like usually I am a off the dome, but I wrote some notes because I've been playing with this idea or paradigm of living my life through the eyes of I love being human. And what I mean by that is I never knew I loved being human, and I'm 44 years old. I never knew I loved it um, because the forest of trees or the walls of fear and anxiety made me believe I did. Made me more scared of the experience than it did, loving it.
Mhm.
And for me, what the principles have done is given me, it sounds cliche because there's a book title called A Second Chance, but that's what I feel like I got. Like really like a do-over on life because of the two biggest misunderstandings I had prior to this understanding, learning about myself. There's a famous evangelical preacher named Miles Monroe from the Bahamas. And he had this quote that when I was coming up through the religious track of Christianity, um, that said, when you don't understand the purpose of something, abuse is inevitable. And so my life was story after story of me not understanding two things. One, who I was, and two, what I was capable of doing.
Mm.
And that misunderstanding led to all kind of shit. So I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, inner city kid. I gang banged just like everybody else in my neighborhood. Tried my best to be a drug dealer, but I'm no Pablo Escobar. That shit was scary to me. Like I didn't want to go to jail. Like I really, so I was like the worst drug dealer in the world because I had all kind of rules. Like I don't want to see you drop your money in a hole, dig it deep. I'll leave your little dime bag of weed 2 blocks away, and like it's no, and like I'm scared as hell of this. So it was really it didn't fit me. But coincidentally, well, not even coincidentally, wisdom wise, those family members and friends I had that it was for kind of took my load and they saw it. And they literally, I remember my cousin never letting me touch drugs again. It was almost like he saw something that I was going to have in life that this shouldn't be what I was doing. And he was like, you don't need this. I got it. Like, just keep your ass in school. Like, go to school. That's what everybody used to tell me all the time. Go to school, because I didn't go. So he was like, just go to school. Just come on, Rob. Just play that ball, man, and give yourself a chance. And I was like, but everybody else out here doing this. Like, I'm trying to fit with who I love, my community, my friends, my family. And they keep pushing me to trying to do something else. And it just always left me feeling on the outside, like, fuck, like, why won't y'all just let me be with you? 180 experience. Graduate high school with nowhere to go. I lose a friend. And my mom cried and begged me to leave. She begged me. She was like, you got to get out of here. Because it was one reason, and one reason only. I wasn't standing next to Vincent when that bullet went through his mouth this way and came out the other way. It's because I took too long to walk to his house, and they left me. So I wasn't there. And when that hit my mom, she was done. She wasn't playing nice anymore. She was like, you gotta get the hell out of here. So then insert Uncle Sam. Oh, man. He was like, oh, this is it. I got a raw piece of anger and frustration and hatred right here that I can mold into a soldier. And that's what he did. And I became very good at targeted hate. I became very good at identifying and neutralizing threats and creating violent acts for so-called terrorists or my enemies. And I did very well. I accelerated through the ranks in protection much quicker than I was supposed to. I stayed much longer than I was supposed to. The field of protection for a military side is only about a 2 or 3 year gig because you're traveling about 240, 250 days a year, protecting the individual. I think I was on a team for like 9 years because the generals kept loving my devotion to nothing but them. And I was chasing at that point what I thought was going to be the biggest thing I'd ever accomplished in my life. And that was, we had this thing in the military where you get stratified, where you get compared to everyone else in the military. And I was at the highest rank I ever had, protecting the most highly visible person I ever had, which was Admiral William McRaven, the commander who was responsible for Operation Neptune Spear, the killing of Osama bin Laden. So I have a 9 to 12 man-woman team, and our job is to keep him alive. And so my life is like cloud 9. I'm like the best ever at work. Because on the other side, I got a divorce that's happening. My alcohol intake is through the roof. And I'm living paycheck to paycheck trying to keep these materialistic things that I got to make you think I'm okay. And I'm trying to balance these worlds, and this shit is getting heavy and tiring. And then that was the first time somebody said to me, I think you need to talk to somebody because you might have PTSD. I was like, the fuck? What? Like, no, I'm good. And they was like, you're numb. I was like, I'm good. You ever try to tell somebody who really don't think they have a problem, they got a problem? I said, fight. And so I fought everybody, my family, my friends, and that created more of the isolation, back to that childhood thought, why won't you just let me be? Why won't you just let me fit in? And it all fell in about 2014, 15, 16, what I call the darkest days of my life. It was the Humpty Dumpty moment, like shattered everything about my identity. I was in trouble with the military. They were contemplating giving me a dishonorable discharge and stripping me of every award I ever had. Oh, and by the way, I achieved that number 1. My 2014 performance report said number one of however many that does this job, signed by the commander. And I got it, and I was excited for about 15 minutes. But that number 1 cost me a wife. Not the number 1. The chase of number 1 cost me to be gone. That's funny because I've never said this way. I've never... Wow. I never saw the ripple effect this insecurity had until telling that. I literally, that's funny because I don't really talk highly all the time of the military because I was upset at what they did. And I literally just realized they didn't do that. Like they like they gave me opportunity, but they didn't make me go 250, 280 days. I volunteered to do that. Like they didn't wreck my marriage. I did. Wow. Okay. Wow. Where am I at? Kelly, where am I at? Help me, please. Where am I at?
As you achieved your number one.
Okay, number one. Yes. Number one, it had no weight whatsoever. I mean, it had none. It didn't mean shit. I mean, it was like so many years of going after this. I thought this was going to be the best feeling in the world, and it meant nothing. And at that point, I was lost, man. I was so broke, I didn't know what to do because my identity was gone. I had been in the military at this point longer than I'd been a kid. Like, it was year 20 now. And I was lost. Um, and so I had a very close friend who turns out now is my wife to ask me to get help. And so I started the self-help project, so to speak. So for about 2015, 16, 17, any kind of thing that you could teach me because I thought I was broken, I was listening to. Any kind of person who was so-called giving people identities, I was latched on to because I was in search of it. And that felt like trying to put a glass vase back together after it shattered on cement. It's like, it just didn't feel right at all. Every time I would leave a substance abuse class, I felt like I was just fucked up. Like I felt like something was wrong and I was always going to need an Avenger team of people to just make me get through my day. It was just like, this can't be it. Like if this is it, I don't want it. And it wasn't I never really thought I had suicidal thoughts. It wasn't I wanted to physically die, just I didn't want to experience life like this. And so again, Tony Robbins, all the self-help, try this, try that. But the novice or the undertone is I'm broken, so I gotta find what's going to fix me. And I get invited to a dinner party by a friend. Show up to the dinner party. In my thinking, I would look in the room. I'm the only black guy in the room. And around 2016, 2017, to me that mattered. So I politely walked straight through the room to the back and we just stayed to myself. My mutual friend the friend who invited us as a couple to the thing, I'm flipping through a book she has on a counter, and the book is Creating Impossible by Michael. So I'm like, yo, let me borrow this book. And she says, why don't you just go talk to him? He's in the front. I was like, what? The dude wrote this book? Which one? And I don't know if you've ever organically bumped into somebody before, but you kind of like talk to somebody else and kind of see them and then you bump. And it's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, man. Hey, I'm Rob. Hey, man, how you doing? That's how you organically bump into somebody. So I organically bumped into Michael, right? And man, we hit it off. Like we was just cackling and chuckling all night, talking about the weirdest of shit, football and all of that. But I had no idea who he was. I knew he wrote this book, and I knew he was kind of cool. It's kind of like, so now I really want to just read the book. I'm really not. I'm thinking like, you don't want that. You ever read a book and saw a movie and they were so different? You're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't want to meet the man, because the dude was cool. I didn't want to then go and read the book and be like, oh, this is shitty. Like, I didn't want to do that. So I kind of just was like, we just kept getting to know each other. So we would go to lunch. We would do coffee, and I saw his TED Talks and stuff, but he wasn't particularly saying anything. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do you do, man? Like, I'm looking for something. Like, I'm what? And nothing. And so I kind of dropped it and just kept it as a friendship, and we would, from here to there. A few months passed by, and he calls, and he was like, hey, if you got 3 days, I got an idea that I could use your help on. And that idea was He was doing a new Super Coach Academy, and he wanted to do a live intensive in front of the students. So he needed somebody who had never heard of the principles before and somebody just fresh off who he knew would want to have a conversation. And I didn't find this out till late. He actually reached out to another guy, and the guy was like, "Nah, I'm not interested." Or not. No, let me not say that. The guy had something that made him unavailable. That's a better way of saying it. Something that made him unavailable, whether it was his thoughts or whatever. And it was mine. And I'm so grateful for that because it changed my life. And so I go. And so the gig is me and Michael in the room. There's a camera, and then there's 50-some people in the other room. And you can hear them, but they're not in the room. And so we were having this conversation, and I can feel these moments, and I could ride with them, but I'll hear them and come right back out because, I got to keep it good for the people, because they're looking at me and they're thinking about me and they got perceptions of me. And everyone in that room is white, Michael, and I'm black and this and that and blah, blah. And it was just like, wow. And he just kept going, just kept pointing to wisdom, Luckily for me, blessed for me, it's caught on camera. And it was the thought that what if I do got all this wrong? And I can have a life like you're saying. And then I went into, what if I'm not broken? And he just keeps doing his thing. And anybody who's been around Michael knows he does his thing. I love the man. And he shifts something in me. And because of my experience, I fought it. So most people think me and Michael's trajectory of friendship and it's been all like holding hands and man bromance. But I can recall times screaming at him, "What the fuck do you want from me?" Like screaming and crying because he was challenging me. He was challenging me, but it was almost like he was challenging me with me. He believed more of what I could do more than I could, and I didn't understand that. Well, it was because he knew the truth. And the more and more we would experience, he would just point me back to me, and he would, for me, I don't know how he does for others, but he would check me when I let my voice sound like him. And that has never happened to me before. Any mentor I've ever had throughout my entire life, whether spiritual, whatever, they loved when I talked and I tried to be like them because, again, I was always in search of an identity. Except Michael. He didn't want me to be him. And he would specifically tell me, "I need you to be you. Like, it's your voice." And he was just like, "Man, just like you already got it set up, though. Let me just kind of hop in behind you and kind of follow your lead, because no, it's yours. It's yours." And it took me about a year, maybe a year and a half, to take Michael off a pedestal of being God and make him a human being. And that was about 2018. And that's when everything got real. About 2018, I woke up to, I wasn't broken. Anything was possible. And I got a friend, not a God, a friend who's willing to keep reminding me of that. So I can hear him now. So you see me around him, like, 'cause I can hear him. Right? I could feel everything he was trying to tell me that I was fighting. I could see it. I'm watching it manifest now by being here. And it was unreal. And the closing thing, or the part of the whole intensive that really caught me, was the question and answer. It was so, again, I'm new to this is my first time seeing it. It was so unique or new to what everybody else experienced. They wanted a Q&A at the end. Like, everybody had questions on, what the fuck did you see? And so everything about my life, again, to this point, I've always had to know the answer. So I don't know if anybody's ever been a banger or a gang, but you let somebody run up on you and ask you questions about your gang that you can't spit your knowledge, that gets you punched square in the face. So in the military, leadership, you let a young airman come ask you a question as a master sergeant and you don't know the answer, there goes their followership. So my whole life has been about knowing answers. Even when I did know them, I had to make some shit up because I need you to believe I knew the answer. We're at the Q&A. And this is when I knew the principles was real for me. We're at the Q&A. Somebody asked me something, and I didn't know the answer. And I kicked straight into bullshit mode. Oh, well, you know, the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. And then I was just like, I'm bullshitting. Straight on camera. Just like, I was like, I'm bullshitting. I don't know. And then I was like, and why in the fuck you asking me? Didn't you just see me learn this shit like 5 minutes ago? Why would you ask me? Like, it was kind of like, it was no pressure on me not to know at that point. Like I did. And it was like, wait, I don't have to know? Wait, like, I mean, and at that, it was just play. And I've been playing with this thing, man, since then. And it's been a joy. And everyone within the community. And when I say 3P community, I mean from even those who so-called been exiled, pushed away, whatever said or this, man, I'm talking about any and everybody who has this understanding of an inside out belief that the world works through mind, thought, consciousness. I'm talking about everybody. The ones we don't talk about, the ones not first generation, the ones we may have never heard of, which is what the podcast is about, because it's the experience that we each all have as human beings that we get to share and show, you know. And yes, I am very clear on what I want to do in life. And that's always demonstrate that I know I am light and love. Regardless of how I'm feeling. Angry? Okay. Well, how does light and love demonstrate anger? Catch myself. You know? That's how it demonstrates it. I mean, still might get you cussed out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still can cuss. Like that part seems still real to me until I catch myself. But I know if I do, I guarantee you I'll make my way back to you. Because I'm not about hurting another human being. Because I know that's me. I hurt you, I hurt me. I get it now. So that's what the principles did for my life and for my experience. And it's why I love being human. I had a shitty day yesterday, but I loved it because I knew it was a shitty day. You know, my daughter was involved in a shooting, and her friend in front and the friend behind her were both struck by the bullet, but she wasn't. And she wasn't because she said when she heard the first shot, she got down and everyone else looked left and looked right. And she said, Daddy, I remember you always used to say that. And I was like, fuck, you were listening. Like I would talk to them about deployments. I thought it was the right thing to do. So I would tell them when shit was exploding or what it felt like when bullets were flying, what I had to do. And I thought it made me cool when I told my kids that stuff. You know, I didn't know it was scaring the shit out of them. But it stayed in her. She knew to stay on the ground and crawl on her elbows and knees. Her hands are raw right here from crawling around the corner for cover. She identified these things. She was like, oh my God, I don't have anything if I get shot. Like, this is what she's saying. She's 21 years old. That's what she calls me with in the morning yesterday. I had a full list of clients. So I show up to my first client just bawling. But this is what I love about my work. My client knew what to do for me. But I'm the coach, right? He knew to hold the space for me. I was like, gotcha. That's how this works for me. So that's about it. I'm going to shut up now, Kelly. It's on you. I'm done.
I don't know about everybody else, but man, you got me going. I don't even know where to start, Rob. There was so much in that conversation. But I first want to start with so much appreciation for he doesn't do this thing. He doesn't do these gigs. He doesn't do them. So for whatever reason you chose to come to spread your love and light here, I'm just beyond grateful.
No, I go out. I just don't write often.
Okay.
I don't like writing. No. I love sharing and programs. I think I'm talking to Martine. I saw her earlier on.
Yeah.
No, I meant by writing down and trying to stay, but my mind was elsewhere because of yesterday and today that I wanted to right, and I knew I would fall in at some point. So it was kind of like after about third or fourth point, it was like, oh, okay, this is how it works. I just knew I needed to be here with you all, and that'll go. It was in the forefront, so I knew to write, and then I fell. I could see Rick, I could see William, I could see Susan, and then I fell. And I didn't need these anymore. I'm delighted to see what the second half of it is. So, but yeah, I had already failed, and that's how it works for me.
I'm glad you shared that to clarify that with me because, you know, there's so much that you shared. I don't even want to say anything because I can go from, when you said the organic bump and when you said, what I do, I got it all wrong. I like my heart fell right into you in your authenticity. And what I'm talking about is that how often have I talked shit? How often I've been thinking I need to know. How often even yesterday, I had a shit day too. Yesterday I did my first expose on heartfelt presence and I couldn't get in the room. And so for 40 minutes I was late and you can imagine that story going on, right? And then when I finally get in the room, I'm there with one person and I'm in my head about it all. And I'm just saying, so I really appreciate where you're coming from. Every day is teaching us something new, and 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 I get to sit and witness and listen to people like you and get this education for free, and I'm beyond moved by that. But I want to say this, there's chasing the number one,
Hmm.
chasing that place where what you think you need to be, and then even in Michael's room, what you thought you needed to say, and it's like, what can you speak to that? Can you just that
Well, like I said, it was a conditioning. It was a mechanism, a fall safe mechanism. So it was a concealment. That's a much better. Okay, so
better.
I'll use military. In military, when you're fighting, you on the battlefield, what you have to be very clear of is the difference between cover and concealment. Cover is hard. It's something you can get behind that will stop a blast or a bullet. So concrete, sometimes depending on the engine block of a vehicle. Concealment is the illusion that you're not there. So standing behind a piece of paper sign, well, the bad guy can't see you, but if he shoots through the paper, paper doesn't stop bullets, you're shot. So I had a lot of concealment in my life. So I had high dollar value vehicles to conceal I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had a very aggressive demeanor, so you wouldn't fuck with me to conceal I was just broken and really didn't know what was going on inside of me. I had a picture perfect example of what a family looks like, and my ex-wife and my kids are in turmoil with my understanding of what I want to do to chase these bullets and these bombs. So I had a lot of concealment. If anybody would really just poke through, I'd have fell apart.
Mm.
I'd have fell apart. And so for me, that's what having to know was. It was another concealment because the look someone gives you when they believe what you're saying, if unnaturally filtered, or if filtered through a place you pull value from that, you'll start to distort that data and go, oh, they need me. If they don't have me, what do they have? I must know now. And it becomes this I gotta always have it type thing. And that's just not true. Half of the time we was getting shot at, I had forgot the stuff we had trained. Like it really took me a minute. I just think for me, it was closed bowels, stop them because it'll leak, when shit get to blowing up, man, bodily fluids do what they want, that was my first thing. Get up, squeeze, squeeze, and then, go do what you got to do. But yeah, it was just the conditioning of always feeling like if I didn't, I was going to be less than. And I already had enough spaces in life where I felt less than.
I get you on that level beyond the conversation.
Yeah.
I've lived that, and thank you for bringing that to light because I I at times think that I need to be something more than than this seed is sitting in, you know what I mean? That this body carries, and it's just not true. It's just not true. Before we open the room up, I want to ask you one other thing because there was a moment where, I don't know, but you do, where something hit you that to me looked very insightful.
Yes. I typically tell that story, but this when when I saw it as a part of the ripple, it kind of sent me more upstream. And so when I went up, it was like, oh shit. I thought I really had that one nailed up for me on what it had to offer me on learning.
Mm,
And so at the moment when I realized that was the ripple effect, it then skyrocketed to like, oh shit, well, what the fuck is in between the ripple effect and the upstream for me to learn? Because that's what I'm always looking for. Like I've embraced the whole learning curve of being human.
yeah.
It's like so for a moment I was honestly battling with if I wanted to go there and play just by myself and hope y'all forgave me or stay here with the purpose of what we were here to do today. And it was kind of like you can do both. And then later I'll go look at that again. So it was honestly kind of deciding um I really want to go with this now that I see it. Like I'm really going to be on that because I've told that story that way for a while now. So to see something new in it gives me something now to kind of want to tug at. What can I get? What can I learn from that? Like, and it may even be shitty. That's what's funny about it. I may even learn something shitty about myself. Believe it or not. Like it's and that when I get those, I'm like, oh. But okay, cool. All right, now we know.
I just thought it was in the moment and so true. And I was hearing what you were saying around the place where, you know, the way I heard it was some part of me was pointing out and the four fingers were pointing back.
Hmm.
And I sometimes hear, I don't know, I sometimes see my experiences in the moment, and that's when the emotion hits me. It's like, oh, it's not that, it's me.
Uh,
It was
uh,
me, and
uh.
it's a humbling moment for me, and I don't know what you were feeling at the time, but I thank you for sharing it with us.
No, no, it was very, very much the same in seeing it was me. Like I can see every moment in hindsight, not in the moment, in hindsight now. I can see every moment where wisdom said, and I was like, no, I got this. I got this, buddy. Come on. I got the education. I got I got this. Like and and for a while that used to bother me until it made sense that wisdom was always there.
Hmm.
And then that kind of was like, oh, well then if I just listen. So for instance, my daughter yesterday, the thing for her to call, I'm get to there's a moment in where I live in the mountains. So there's a curvy road and there's a point where I go left, right, or straight in a sense. I normally go straight because that's the fastest and easiest way. This time I take a left. Lo and behold, I get caught in traffic. And now I'm like, the fuck? That wasn't the voice. This is what I said. That's not the voice. Right? Because now I got to text my client and tell my client I'll be 5 minutes late because I'm caught in traffic. 7:50-ish, maybe even close to 8, my daughter calls to tell me this story.
Hmm.
My phone goes face down and on silent whenever I'm in any session. If I wouldn't have been late, I would have missed that call. If I wouldn't have been late, I'd have missed the call.
So,
I
so,
only was late because I took the left.
so first, I'm so blessed that your daughter's okay. And is she okay?
Oh, me too. Yeah, she's good. She hit me today. She was like, you know what? I'm going to go to my interview. I'm going to eat, and you're right. Like I was like, thank you. Let's go. Because she called me. Was like, she was first asking how to break the news to her mom, how to tell her mom, um, and then she wanted to know like, you've been shot at. So what is this? How do we, what is it? And a lot of it was just letting her go through the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and watching her and seeing how she did. But it was not heartbreaking, heart feeling to point to her wisdom. And I saw she's okay.
Yeah.
Like I saw it. Not like I didn't see it as my daughter. I saw this being is okay
Yeah.
without the identification of it being my daughter. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't that I was feeling love for her because she was my daughter and feeling okay. It was just the relief I had that this being in front of me, I could see they're okay. Like it was, and it was, good. Now again, that caused a ripple effect of experiences for others throughout the family, as you can probably imagine. But for me and her, we were good.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went to her interview this morning, and we'll see what happens from her job interview or whatever. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, it's I don't know, it's weird. Like now, for me with that, because it's just always realizing, or waking up to really that life starts from the inside out. Like I was about to, even funnier. I was about to curse a guy out the other day, literally, because he cursed out a 16-year-old little girl. Like I watched him call the 16-year-old little girl a bitch. And so by the time I got to him, I'm about to give him the business in my head. As I get ready to curse him out or get ready to engage, I literally thought to myself, Rob, if you know this is inside out, what does that expression say about here? And I was like, he's fucking hurting. He's suffering. And I'm like, no, fuck you. You're not fit to have no empathy for no asshole. He cursed out a 16-year-old girl. Like, okay, so I'm back. I was like, no, all that is it. And it's like, no, he's suffering. And it's like, no, fuck that. Like that girl was 16. And then I saw it. She's younger than my child, which makes her even more precious of a baby, right? And it was like I was making this story up for this man so I could project something. And it was like, holy shit. He's suffering. And so now, if I walk into an incident where a person is cursing out a 16-year-old girl, I'll probably say, hey, are you okay? Want to talk? Can we grab a coffee or something? Like, I wouldn't be ready to meet him in his anger and frustration because I'm not suffering like that. So why would I bring that to, like, why would I meet him if I'm not feeling inside how he's feeling? That doesn't make sense to me anymore. So why would I bring anger to this if I'm not angry?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I show up to this with me. Like, again, I want to bring love and light to everything that I ever have to touch my physical hands on or be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that disruption leads somebody to seeing something different about something.
Yeah.
I challenge my family all the time. I've been married to my wife, I don't know how long now, but we've been together 8 years. And my grandmother just asked her name 2.5 weeks ago. That's my family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, tell me your name. It's Lori, Ma. Well, I see you're happy, so I wish y'all, thank you, Grandma. And that's simply based on color. So, like for me, again, that's what I mean. Like, she has that experience. She was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, in 20s, 30s, 40s. What else? I can't expect shit else from her in the sense like how she wants to do, but that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right on. And nothing to
So
do with her awarenesses.
yeah. I love my grandmother and love to talk to her about a bunch of things. We just see different on race.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay.
And I think the principle, the gaps that you're talking about between, am I going to show up in the anger or am I going to be showing up in me? And it's like, for me, that's a learning experience. Each time I see somebody in something that, is not in alignment for, peace and happiness, I have an opportunity to choose. And I'm realizing that those choices are becoming shorter and shorter with my reactionary responses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the gap I love to talk about. Of there's a bridge that crosses the formless to the form.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm trying to be straight in the center of that bridge. I don't want to be too super spooky spiritual that I can't see that injustices and people are suffering right here in front of me. So I don't want to go that way into the, oh my God, just be okay with whatever, that is. So I do want to have, empathy. But I also don't want to go so far down there where even like some of the kids I talked to with Inside Alliance in the prison system in Oregon, I don't want to talk to them like their life is over just because they are in jail at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, facing 8 to 10 years. I still got to give them hope in life. So it's kind of like this whole spectrum of like from just of life experience that I like connecting to, and giving hope with and just sharing, man. Like for me at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still letting people in the room here. This is awesome. I'd like. What? How do you feel? What do you think? Shall we open up the room and see what people?
Oh yeah, man. Listen, there's some names on this call. I'm looking at like, oh shit. Like there's one voice on this call. I am going to pick. I love my voice, but damn, there's a voice on here that
You know who it is. I think I know.
Whenever I hear that voice, it's like, pay attention. Like it's soft and it's smooth and it's you'll hear it before long. We'll just all blink if that person just so happens to say something throughout. We'll all just blink because we know who it'll be with that voice. But there are some other people on here I see that I know and love and who have sent me some amazing love notes before and things like that. So yeah, open it up. Let's talk. Let's hang out.
Yeah. So lots to be unfolded here. So whatever you've been hearing or whatever you would like to share with Rob, please. Yeah. William, please go ahead. Hi, Bill.
Hi. Boy, I tell you, it's like I don't even care what you have to say. I just love the way you say it. It's like you're just being so real in the moment. And of course, everything you say has so much power and impact and truthfulness in it for me. But I just like, it's so easy the way what you're doing is just being in the moment and just trusting that. I just see that when I rely so much on this identity, that the image, I'm not really that interested listening to him either. But when I'm present and what I see, you talk about wisdom, I think what I see when I'm present, that's for me wisdom. In the moment, it's like I just trust that. And it's like I don't have to really think when I'm there. And that's what I see coming out of you. And it's just, wow, it's just so moving. And I can sit and just enjoy your energy, the way you just shared it like crazy.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Man, it's just wonderful. It makes me also aware that those moments when I get caught up in just being in the moment, it works. But I spend so much time in my thinking and with the identity that I've trained myself to hide it. I like that concealment. Oh man. Oh, that's so good.
Here's that, Bill. Listen, that is definitely it. Like cover and concealment. That's it.
Yeah.
Because inside here, it's so funny. Inside here, when yes, just cover and concealment. I'll get never mind. Yes, I want to hear from y'all. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I love y'all. Like, love that, Bill. Like, it was just like, oh yes, but go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in, and it's like giving you a real hug and a push and feeling your energy, and it's back and forth in the moment. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you.
I love that cover and concealment too. Like that, who'd have thought that what you were learning in that training was a truth in life? A real truth in life, as I see.
Yeah, when them rubber bullets hit you, you learn. That's how you learn the difference. So, in conventional forces, safety is the key. So a lot of exercises for large units or non-specialized units are very safe. So when you shoot at the range, someone is giving you the instructions on when to load your weapon, when to point it at the target, when to pull the trigger, when to stop, because that safety and keeping numbers. When you get over to specialized units, that safety not that it goes out the window, it becomes secondary to learning the skill set. And so we would then outchange our weapons with these special barrels that allowed us to use our real weapons, but the velocity of the rubber bullet comes out enough to sting, break the skin, hurt you, but not kill you. But you won't have a training, you won't make these thoughts about what you think the difference is in between cover and concealment, because your job is protecting the person. And there was one particular time we were moving and I thought I was covered. And that rubber bullet hit me like right on the trap. And that scream was like, ah! Like it was like gave our whole position away. We was all dead within minutes for the training scenario, right? But that's what's going to happen. It was like, ah! It felt like a real shot. Never made that mistake again. Every time I ever entered, it was up and then back down, So yeah, cover and concealment is everything between the difference in being, if you got something solid, you can stand. And we can stand on the truth. It's when you got that illusion that's going to get you shot up. That I am this. I am. If you don't stop at I am, that's the only truth. Every other thing you add after that, that's the illusion.
I have to say there was one other thing. Give me 1 second, Tom. This was good.
Tom!
In a conversation we had, you were sharing about the trigger and having a safety. And there was a point where every gun has a safety, and that the time between the time it takes to turn off the safety and shoot the gun is the amount of time you can think about what you're doing.
Yeah. So specialized units, again, non-specialized units carry Berettas. Beretta has 2 safety mechanisms because, again, safety is their paramount. It's so that no one gets shot in an office setting or things. But if you think about having to shoot a weapon, if you don't train enough for muscle manipulation, when you go to pull, the first shot is going to be unsafe, which means your bullet doesn't go out. That's enough for you to be the person not telling the story. It's the way we were trained. Well, in special ops world, this is your safety. We use Glocks. And so Glocks don't have safeties. So your safety becomes your awareness of your situation. Yeah. If you pull it, you're shooting. If we pull it, we're shooting. And so we didn't ever have to worry about if it comes out that it won't shoot. It's just, if you pull it, you're shooting. And so it was, again, a different way of thinking. And, you look at it in life, like if you ever think you're not safe, you're not shooting. Like everybody look at me right now. I want everybody to look at me. I want you to picture my face and what I'm about to say. I love you. Okay? Now everybody raise their hand if they heard me say that. Okay? I want you to close your eyes. I want you to visualize me the same way you just did, saying to you, I love you. And I want to say I love you, but not out loud. Say it in your head through my voice to you, just like we just did for real. Raise your hand when you've done that. All right, everybody can open their eyes. So everybody just heard me again without saying it out loud. Say, I love you, right? Okay, that space right there is the one I'm talking about not broken and is before any identity. Because you just said something, heard something, and saw something without your eyes or your ears. It all happened inside somewhere else. That's the space I'm talking about that's uncontaminated, that doesn't have a black skin, a social economic status. It doesn't have any of that. It just is. And it's the same one for me in here as it is for Mika. It's the same one. It's the space we can fall into that again is before any of those things I use that separate me and Rick and cause a problem for me and Rick or cause a issue for me and Rick. It's that. And if you can always remember that you have the ability to see without your eyes, because your eyes only see what's in front of you. These eyes actually only see what's in front of you. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Everything else is this. You know. So
It's a great reminder. It's a great reminder. Thank you for taking that. Tom, I'm sorry to keep you holding. Go. It's
No,
Tom.
no.
Tom's on deck.
What's up, Tom?
Well, I'm so happy what I was just feeling because I have a question, but I was going to say to you that I love your show. I love listening to your voice, but maybe now I can just say that I love you.
Oh man, appreciate that.
Yeah. And my question is around your podcast, and maybe not everyone knows, but the 3PG board and others in the larger community last year went through a lot of reflection about diversity and inclusion. One of the things I love about your show that I keep hearing in my head where you say all voices are heard. And so can you just share a little bit about what you feel you're up to in that mission to have all voices heard? Like, what is that to you? What has it been like for you? And how is that going?
Yeah.
A little bit about
a very good question. And now that I know you love my voice, to that other person, you cannot ask any questions now other than via chat. Like, if he loves my voice, that means until he hear yours, I am King Kong. So we're going to ask you to send your message in by chat. All right? That's just out there. I just throw that out there. No. But in response to that, so my personal vision, my big goal personally for Rob Cook is to end human suffering. And what I found, what I love doing most, where there's no effort in it for me to do it, is to have conversations. So I figure I can have transformative conversations with interviews and discussions about hard topics and express and show love where people get to glean things from that'll help with their suffering. Because again, remember, well, you may not have been. I believe that most of what people are hurting from is just a misunderstanding of how we think. And then, too, what their story is. Like, most people think their story is to beat them up with. No, your story is to remind you you're fucking resilient. That's why you're here to tell it. Like, it's not for you to go, oh, woe was me back then. I got to beat myself up with it in 2021. That doesn't make any sense. That's why we can't change it. You know, it's only just a reminder that you're still in the game. You're still living. You still got a shot. You're still going. You still winning. Because the ultimate goal is us trying to stay alive. You know, so, but the podcast came about from Christine Heath. Christine Heath reached out to me after the George Floyd thing had hit mainstream, and she wanted to have a conversation. And she had heard me and Michael have a conversation on air about race. And so she wanted to hear about it. And what struck her specifically was my experience with the George Floyd incident and how it took me a minute to get to what happened between the cop and George. Like it was maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, even further before I saw that on the video. What I couldn't get past is the officers who turned away. Yeah. Not because I thought that something about them, but what I kept flashing back or what I kept remembering was times when I was in other countries and there were things as American soldiers we did to Muslim people that shouldn't have been done. And I just turned. That's what I kept seeing. And it literally almost cut me in half because everybody was identifying that as an act of hatred. And so that means I must have that same capacity to hate within me. Because at the moment I was supposed to use my voice to help another human being not be humiliated, to not be in their country. Like I'm the visitor. I'm the soldier. I'm the visitor here. And to demoralize and degrade their religious beliefs for the purpose of superiority. I did the same thing those cops did. I believed us, the military, versus them, the Muslims. And that allowed me to do what I consider was an act of hatred, not use my voice to show love and light. And that almost sent me back. That one hurt. So my whole George Floyd incident was totally different. It was totally different. And that was kind of like another wake-up call for me. What was I doing that at? What was I not seeing clearly that I had to look at? LBGT community. Oh my God, man. I've said some dumb shit in my life. Because I've been an athlete my whole life, and then I was in this very masculine workforce. But then I hired 2 women throughout my whole time, from special ops to even my deployment. And boy, I tell you, them was 2 of the best teams I had. It just brought something different. Shit we wouldn't think about. Like, I've ran all guy teams, security teams, and the girls would come up with shit we wouldn't think about. They'd be like, fuck, that's a good idea. Like, that's what diversity is. It just opens up the bandwidth with what you could see, you know? So, man, that podcast has been everything for me.
Yeah.
Because it's some of the names I know, some I don't. So I literally showing up, just trying to fall in love and have a good time. And hope that people get something from it. At least get that I'm having a hell of a time doing it. If you don't get nothing else, you know, get that I enjoy doing it. But it's about, I do love the first generation, and I love what we would call superstars. They're great. You know, my mentor, Michael, I pick with him all the time. But I know having those don't help when people are suffering. What we need is to understand we're all alike. Mm-hmm. And that's why we keep referring to Sid, is to remind people that Sid was an ordinary dude that had this insight. He wasn't rich. He wasn't charismatic. He wasn't super intelligent, had a 9th grade education, all of these different so-called identity things where he shouldn't have been able to see this. And he did. That's what we're pointing to, that anybody, because we're all from mind, created from, has the ability to tap in. Or is plugged in consistently, you know, much better said, inside out. So that's what that journey has been like. But it's interviews and discussions, meeting new people, opening myself up to biases and judgments and shit that I have. Like, I'm super open about that, because I don't want anybody to think I'm perfect. Like, I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. So when I hit the military, I had a very unhealthy relationship with what I understood about white people. Yeah. It was very unhealthy. You know, what I understood about Muslims, very unhealthy. What I understood about gays, being born and raised in the Baptist church, very unhealthy. You know, so I challenged them all. That's the whole thing of the brand now, is literally challenging everything I think is true. Because what true holds, and then I ain't got to worry about it. But if it don't hold, I need to change it, and I need to change it fast.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate that. And I appreciate all the people. I don't think I've listened to every episode, but most of them. And there's just so many different types of people. And like you said, people who've been around since the beginning and people who are fresh and new. And I just love that you're doing that. Like, it's so, I mean, it's not just that I enjoy it, but it's like it's needed. Like,
thank you.
We need that. So thank you so much.
Yeah. I will highlight a special episode that's coming out on Thanksgiving. And the reason I want to highlight it is because it's been a long time coming, but this is the first time ever in my life I'm going to interview Michael.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've never interviewed him before. He's always interviewed me, and so we're kind of excited. And it's been one of those things where I kept saying, no, man, I got too much thinking about it. Like, no, man, I could see when I'm preparing for it that I'm putting you back on this pedestal. Like, it's like, no, when I give it, I want it to be free and I want it to be clean. So that's got to phase out. So that's why he's not been on 10 months of this, you know, because when I started it, I called him. I was like, hey, I want to do this. And he was like, go for it. And then he was like, hey, you want to do one of them things every week? And, you know, I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. You coming. But yeah. So he's coming up on, it's going to be the Thanksgiving episode. I'll be able to publicly give him thanks for pointing me, and then we're going to have a good time on just talking about gratitude and this appreciation for the understanding in life. So yeah, I'm excited about that one.
I'm excited about that one. And I just want to say for people who are unfamiliar, we're talking about Michael Neal. So for those who are new to the room and new to the conversation of Three Principles, so Michael Neal and Rob Cook together. Woo! Woohoo! Who knew? Okay, lovely Mika.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Mika.
Man, that was
Where did
so
the bear go?
beautiful.
I remember Mika Bear. Where did the bear go?
Yeah, it's still there
Okay, okay.
in the cave at the moment.
Okay, got it.
No, what like just such a beautiful sharing. You just have so much heart and soul, and watching you have that insight was just priceless during your talk. You kind of touched on a little bit on one of the things that always comes to mind to me, like when I'm listening to you, because coming from the background that you came from, and then having these insights and these revelations and transformations and evolutions, all the things that are happening within you from this understanding coming from the military experience that you had. I think of the idea of like Sid saying, you know, that we all do the best we can
Mm-hmm.
with the level of thinking that we have at the time. And that inside us, there's always well-being. So coming from this training where there's an enemy, where there's a bad and a good, there's this very black and white, you know, I've not been in the military, but it seems like to me sort of an indoctrination of this that prepares one to go out and do what they do.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, how you have made peace or bridged that to where you are now and this understanding. I would love to hear you talk about that.
Oh yeah, it's super simple. The military just convinced me of a narrative, just like media did before. So before, I was just a black kid from the projects and a gangbanger, so I probably wasn't going to make it to 18. So I lived according to that narrative. I did a lot of dumb shit before I was 18 because I didn't think it was going to be much after that. Well, when I got into the military, I bought into the narrative of if I hate them enough, I become a hero to my people. So I roll. And then the principal was like, oh, any narrative you believe you're going to run with. Oh, okay. They just got me. They just got me for 21 fucking years, but they got me, okay? You know. But no, it was just an awareness or an awakening up to the belief of a story. That was just the belief of a story. And it's funny because I remember my younger brother. My youngest brother banged hard, like way worse than me. And it's funny because our family talks about how I created him to be the monster. It was like as I was getting ready to go, and I didn't remember much of this, but the way that, you know, my siblings tell stories, because he's the baby boy, as I was getting ready to go into the military, I got real hard on him. So I was having my friends beat him up so he can get his fight game up faster. I made him do more at his age group because he's about 5 years younger than me. So I was putting him through things that wasn't going to be his experience for another couple years so I can get him ahead of the game. And what do you know? He became King Kong. It was heartbreaking watching and hearing some of the shit he's done over his life. Like running up in houses, putting shotguns in people's faces and just straight up robbing them. Because he's like, survive. Like survival is his game. And we fought for years. Like, I mean, when I say it was literally tearing my mom, my grandmother, and my father apart. And they're all in different houses, but I mean stripping them because I'm the oldest boy and he's the youngest boy. But we got two different lifestyles. So I thought, he's a gangbanger. He carries a gun everywhere he goes. His violence, that ain't regular, that ain't right. I carry a gun everywhere I go. My colors are just red, white, and blue. And that story was more of me being a hero and him being a gang member. But my mom was not going to give a damn if I got shot in Iraq and he got shot in the streets of Birmingham, Alabama. She wasn't going to say, oh, you were a hero and he was a gangbanger, so for this I'm okay and for that I'm not. No, she was going to grieve the loss of her son, which made us the same. Just the stories were different. And that changed us. That changed us. That changed everything. And so the catalyst for that change was the death of his 11-month-old child, and by the hands of his baby's mother. And he fucking lost it. And my entire family called me in extreme fear, because he said, I am going to kill any and everybody who knew this bitch. That was exactly his words to me. And I said, let me come home first. I said, just let me get there. Let me just don't do nothing. Let me get there. So we get home. I hang with him. We walk my nephew to the thing, and I hug him. And I guess in hugging him, I say to him, I don't know how, but we're going to get through this. Just let me figure it out. Just give me some time. So we go finish everything up. That next day, I'm staying with my father. He comes through and he says, let's take a walk. And we walk and he says, I can't do this. And I was like, what? He says, what you said to me at the casket. He said, do you remember the last time you told me that? And I was like, what I said at the casket? What the fuck did I say? What did I say at the casket? And he said, you told me to give me some time, that you was going to figure this out and we were going to be okay. And he reminded me of a time when my mom was in an abusive relationship and her boyfriend was whooping our ass. And we were in the closet and we were crying. And he said, I told him, hey, just don't cry. I'm going to get us out of this. I'm going to figure this out. And that turned into me joining, and that turned into me getting my first gun. But he never put his hand on my mom again. So to him, those were the words that showed change for good. And so he was like, I think I'm going to listen. So we just went through it. And so I was trying to find different ways to talk to him. But again, from Birmingham, Alabama, and I haven't been around that environment in a while, I didn't know how to do it. So I chose music. And so we just started listening to music on Zoom. That's it. Just hanging out. And then he started asking questions. And we just kind of moved him out of the projects. He no longer gang bangs. He still carries guns. No longer sells drugs, have a regular job. We're looking at trying to get custody of the other kids, or at least visitation so he could see them and things like that. But yeah, if I never would have saw we were the same, I probably still would be fighting him to this day and not getting to experience the joy of having a little brother. He's kind of funny too. Like, he's cool. He's a cutie, he's funny. Cause he's so hardcore. And now I'm looking at him, it's like, you're a baby. And I'm like, oh fuck, that's how I was. Like, hardcore, cause I'm tatted. It's funny, like I can do the mean thing cause I'm tatted all across my chest and arms and stuff. So I can give the mean appearance like he's can up his neck and stuff. Straight softies inside. Like, we not about that life, But yeah, that's how this thing looks for me, Miga.
Thank you.
Ian, how you doing in Ireland?
How's Mr. Cook?
I asked you how you doing. You can't answer my question with a question, man.
Getting cold. It's October.
Yeah. It's cold here too. I think it was like 74 degrees yesterday. I was like, shit. And I pulled my hoodie out. I was like, this is. I'm not built for this, man.
It's colder than that here. It's cold and wet. But sorry, I missed most of your call. But I came in before you said I love you, and not too many men say that to me. So it was. I think the more people that say that, the better this world is going to be. So.
I love that, and I do love you. Give me a hug for me.
I will.
Ian, I call that divine timing. Divine timing. Right?
I can't do it, man. You gotta talk. I can't do it. Go ahead. You gotta say it. I can't. I feel too insecure if I really don't let you say anything for real. Oh, you are really in the silent coach phase. Oh, and you can't talk for real. Oh, dang. All right, so that's super cool. But just so everybody know, Thomas was that voice, you all. I absolutely loves that man's voice. When I hear him talk, it's just so soft. It just really resonates with me. So I love hearing the things that he do and seeing what he does. So yeah, that's what I was picking with earlier. But he's literally in a place where he can't talk, which is super funny. Like, I didn't even have to expose my insecurities. Shit, see what thinking does? Like, right there.
Did everybody see the chat? It was Thomas. Thomas has a beautiful accent. Hi, Rob.
Even when you write, it sounds good, man. Even when you write.
And I won't fake it. I'm Irish as well, but he says, "Hi, Rob. I absolutely love being here with you today. Thank you for your light. I can't talk as I am in a silent space in Portugal. But just to say two things. I'm so glad your daughter is okay, as we all are. And I appreciate the incredible work that you do for 3PGC podcast. You are the voice, man. You are."
Thank you, my friend. Oh, man. That is so funny.
We're just, I am so full. Like, wow, I got to go back and I got to just reconsider everything that was unfolded here. You know, I don't know ever, anytime at any point, what's coming to the room. And Rob and I didn't talk about it. You know, we just said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to do this." And so what you brought in love and understanding for me, I don't often go back and listen for whatever reason, time and things like that. But there's an education in this call for sure. And I want to hear it again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody? Yeah, Martine. Are you saying bye? Yeah, she's saying bye. Maybe.
She's saying bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Anybody? We opened the call with some friends, and we had just a little bit of sharing. Does anybody who was in that first moments, those first 3 or 4 moments, want to share? Or shall we close the room today? Rick, I can't believe you're not. There he is.
I was gonna pick on Rick or Mark. I was like, one of y'all gonna have to say something to me now. Come on, man.
November, come on. I'm the man.
Yeah, I know. Hey, one thing, I would wish at one point in time that I want to hear Thomas say "woo woo." I don't think I've ever heard those words coming from his voice. You know what I mean, Rob?
Yeah. Wonder what it's gonna sound like. We need it recorded. It's gonna become one, and then we just play it. Woo.
Right? Yeah, it could be my new ringtone or something.
Yeah. Woo hoo.
Every episode, what number are you on, Rob? Episode, whatever, Thomas Leamy, Womo.
So,
we have a question before the room closes there, Rob, Brenda, or maybe just to share. Brenda, go ahead.
Okay.
Hey.
I think Rick has some, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead, Rick.
Okay, I'll just keep this brief, but Rob, you are. I've been touched so much with, and I come from a uniform service. I was a medic for 30 odd years.
Thank you for your service.
And thank you. And the shell, when you put that uniform on, you right. And when you take it off, I get that sense of you're lost. Like that whole identity thing. Like, what was I? What was I? But you are such a demonstration of that. You talked about being on that bridge, and I see that perfect balance between power and grace and passion and focus for what you do. It's truly incredible and really inspiring. So thank you, and keep doing the work.
I appreciate that, Rick. And yeah, that uniform thing, what I learned from that was, it was wearing the uniform, I thought I was unified, or I thought I was in unity with everyone. And I found out that wasn't true. I was just uniformed like everyone else. The community I'm in now, I'm unified with. Like we understand this understanding. Like we're connected. But when I was dressed alike, that's what I thought was unity, because we wear the same clothes, you know. No, not so much. Yeah, not so much. So
Thanks for sharing, Rick. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was taking the moment, and that moment was very special. It was very special because I see that too. Brenda.
Hey, just briefly, first of all, Kelly, I don't know if you know this, but the light above your head gives you halo. So it's been really beautiful to see the halo behind it. I want to see that. And hey, Rob, I'm Brenda. I'm coming to you from above the 49th on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam. And I just wanted to make a comment. Yeah, that's where I am. I know we're all on this stolen land. I wanted to make the comment that, you know, I try, and my proof is in the pudding, that every moment of life is a miracle in process. And I wasn't going to come today, and I thought, I'm going to go. And I was the first one in the room, and it's like, yeah, you get to be my miracle for the day. So for this moment, I'm really grateful, and beautiful words. And I'm going to walk forward as much as I can in love and in light. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So I thought we could end in maybe a different way if nobody else has something pressing or in their heart, or
I see one.
do we? Morag, go ahead. Yes.
Oh,
Thanks, Rob.
oh gosh, I'm going to cry. Thank you. I think that's all I can say. Thank you so much. It just feels the conversation deeper, deeper, deeper. So much just obviously just moves me so much. I think the thing I heard again at a deeper level when you said the truth, the real truth is I am. Everything after that is illusion. And I think that hit me so strongly, especially right now, where we're navigating a lot of fallout after the death of a very close friend. And that's, you are my shining star, Rob. I cried when I was doing the 3P UK live. I remember I was your host, and I was in tears. I was like, okay, oh, okay.
That's why I was excited when your hand went up. I was like, oh, did I say I know? Like, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to say thank you for that, but yes, you opened my room, and I was scared shitless that day. But go ahead. That was my first time talking on that platform. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay. And it was like 5 a.m. for me, and probably for you too. I'm on the in British Columbia, so just so deeply, deeply, deeply moved by really seeing the connection, really experiencing that. The eyes closed and not hearing, but experiencing the I love you stays so much with me. And I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I pick with a couple people?
Yeah, please.
I really just want to hear from them because their smiles are I could see them. I just want to hear their voices. All right, so just let me hear your voice. I'm just gonna call your name and I can hear your voice. Start with Greg. Greg, let me hear your voice. Just what's up, man? You know, you don't have to say anything. I just want to hear your voice.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Greg. All right, thank you, man. I just kind of like I can see now. Susan, let me hear your voice, please, just.
Hello, my dear. I'm so grateful to meet you and grateful to be here. And I love you right back. You're amazing. I loved your reminder that we're not all broken and our loved ones aren't broken and they can find their way to wholeness. And so you've given me that hope again. Thank you.
Thank you. Vera, let me hear your voice, please.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
I'm so sorry I missed the first 45 minutes. We had a time change here and I fucked up.
It don't matter. You
I'm-
caught this minute. This all I care about. I saw that smile when you came on. This all I care about. I didn't say shit before the first 45 anyway.
You've changed
I didn't-
that woman. Oh my God.
I didn't say
Let's-
shit till you showed up, Vera. How about that? Thank you. Who else voice I had? Cecilia. Can I hear your voice, please?
Hello. My name
Hello.
is Cecilia. I come from Sweden. I think I missed the first part. Maybe it's the time.
Yeah, but no, again, I didn't say shit till you got here.
Yeah.
Once you got here is when I started talking. That's when the party started. Once you got here.
Thank you anyway.
Thank you. Pamela, that's new. I didn't see you over there. Pamela, can I just hear your voice? I just want to just say hello, please. I just want to hear your voice.
Good morning, Rob. It's been an honor to hear you speak today. You gave me some major insights since my husband of 30 years spent 20 years in the military, and some of the things you said affected me very deeply and helped me understand him more. And we are all the same. We have a lot of issues in our family, that socioeconomic disparity and this idea that of keeping myself covered so that people didn't see those things. And if there's anything I've learned from the principles is that the common denominator is love. And thank you for the beautiful articulation of that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Kelly, for letting me do that, because that's all I'm about, is making sure every voice gets heard. That's like, it's in me. It's in me. And the last person who's going to close us out is Mark. Oh, yeah, I waited to the end, Mark. Yes, don't think you're getting out of here. I just said all voices, and you're going to try to act like I didn't know you didn't say anything, Mark? Come on. How you doing, man?
Oh, good, thanks. I didn't know what to say. I was here getting all caught up in my head and in my mind, thinking, what do I say? So it was beautiful how you said about how you had Michael like a god.
Mm-hmm.
But we are all gods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was nice that you said that, because it was a reminder to me, because I'm looking at you and thinking to myself, I'm seeing myself in you. So
Yeah.
you're my God now.
Oh, hell no. Don't do that. Feel that pedestal. Quick, get me down. You can't hear me up here. Get me down. I'm scared of heights too, bro. Like, don't do me like that. No, but I get that. And that's honestly why I talk a lot about See It as a non-first generation guy, because if we look at, bro, when I remember George Pransky called me, I was like, oh shit, George Pransky didn't call my phone. Like, because he's Michael's mentor. So here comes my mentor asking me, would I come speak at a program? I was like, yeah, and then I got around and I got to hang out with George. And it was like, oh, if I want to hear him, because of the experience with Michael, I better get him off this pedestal quick. It was kind of like, because if that's my mentor, holy shit, what I can be exposed to, right? Just that's how it flipped so quickly for me. The same with Dick and Bettinger. And when I got to the board is Dick and Bettinger, Christine Heath, George and Linda Pransky, Aaron Turner, all of those who were at See It's right hand. And then when we look at them and then they looking up to See It, it's like, man, don't anybody who's 4th, 5th generation know what the hell y'all talking about? Because, we got y'all up here, let alone trying to go another couple levels to find this See It guy, but that's why I'm always talking, because it's the same. If we kind of get them down and level this playing field, we can all hear one another, and we can demonstrate that this is real. And I think that is going to be most important for society conscious level to change, is to see a community that really demonstrates diversity, inclusion, and of everything, and acceptance. A community that really demonstrates being able to have harsh discussions, which all communities have, but love through it. Don't have to fucking agree on everything, but damn it, you're gonna love me. Like that, so yeah.
Now that's for me, that's what it's about. And the reality of it is you bring the human experience through your talking, because you're bringing the reality, because the truth is that we're experiencing, but we don't realize that we're experiencing. Yeah. That's the beauty of what you've brought in. So I thank you so much for just being real. That's it. The real human experience. So thank you.
I appreciate that, Mark. I think that is everybody, isn't it, Kelly? I do. We did hear collectively together everybody's voice, didn't we?
Linda, do you want to say hi?
Linda. Okay. All right. Okay. See, I can't see on that screen. Hold on. Where all right.
That's all right. That was an interesting little exercise, actually, because I was starting to have some thinking about being the only voice that wasn't heard. And then I thought, you know what, that doesn't even matter, because I don't care. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to have my voice heard later this month anyway. So thanks to Kelly. So, it doesn't matter. But it's been a really, really special call. And so many things have landed with me. It's been great. So thank you. I'm over in London, UK, by the way.
Hopefully I'll see you in June. I'm trying to come to the one in person. I'm ready. I'm ready to be at the 3P UK conference in person. So I'm trying to get there in June. But wow. I thank you for saying that, because I would say it's your grounding that got you quickly to it doesn't matter. But that's where everybody goes when they feel their voice isn't heard. That's why I want to do it this way. Mm-hmm. That's why I want to do it. Just that quick. It's great of a time as we've had, as special as it be. It's just that softness of it. But your grounding brought you back real quickly, and then we got it. But for the person who doesn't have that grounding, it becomes something. It becomes the way they start looking at how they're going to live. I'm not heard. Nobody wants to hear me. Everybody else on that call got to talk except me, and then it just compounds from there. So thank you for highlighting what happens when someone feels like their voice hasn't been heard. Yeah. And whether conscious of it or not, that feeling still is in there. Yeah. So thank you.
And I see you there, Linda. I see you there. I just want to give opportunity, because we're doing this and it's not that big of a room, to anyone behind the screen who would just like to say hi. And if you would like to do that, do so now. And if not, I'm going to close the room.
I'm still in my pajamas, but I have to say hi and thank you. That's why I've been behind my picture. This was just phenomenal. Rob, every time I hear you speak, I won't make you a god, but you are quite the superstar.
Well, Sharon, what I'm upset is I want to see the PJs. Y'all know I wear PJs. I had to get dressed for this. Like, trust me, I didn't. Again. This is Kelly's show. I didn't want to show up, but I'm about to go get right back in my damn pajamas. Y'all, I record in PJs. I did conferences in my pajamas. I even have ones that I wear out in public. So, I'm all about the PJ life. Yeah. That is funny. Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Christian, go ahead.
Thanks, Kelly. I figured just for completeness sake, I should put a word in. And I just want to thank you so much, Rob. I also was late, but I'm looking forward to watching the replay. And I will definitely be looking up your podcasts. So,
thank you.
That was such a special thing to hear. I was very touched when you were talking about everyone has a voice. I spent a lot of my life not feeling that. So that was really special for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian. Devesh. Hi.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Devesh.
I'm in Sydney. Hey, good to hear you. It's 4:40 a.m. here in Sydney, and I saw your name. I heard you through Morag in the Three Principles, and Kelly, I'm following every day, something or the other. But the good thing is, it's so wonderful to hear your concealment and cover the discernment between, because and also the things I carried. I was born in Kenya, in East Africa, and we
Okay.
grew up in white, brown, black Indians, African, and the colonial past, and everybody looked down on each other, where everybody looked up at each other, where everybody looked sideways with distrust of each other, and the
Yeah.
whole lot. And the amount of opinions, beliefs, constructs, everything I grew up in, each one slowly is dismantling because of the three principles exposure over the last couple of years. But above all, the filters of these principles, people with warmth and love and presence and wisdom and a bit of soul thrown in, and everything else comes through the spirit soaring, the soul singing, and the soul grounded. And you are one of these filters, which when you speak, something tingles, as does Kelly's effort to get all these people in, and Morag there, I know, and it's a wonderful presence which is bringing out my presence possible in the world based in wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Avish, thank you so much. Okay, it's last call. Anna and Claire and Katie. If you feel inclined, we would love to have you.
That made me feel like I was back in my mom's church when we was little, when it said the doors of the church are open.
Yeah.
We have you if you want to make it down this aisle.
Doors are always open.
Come on, meet Jesus. And that's what they used to say. And it was just like the whole church would be swaying back and left. Yeah, and then everybody. But then when you go get in the chair, they do this thing to you. So, yeah. Oh, man.
I have to apologize to the room. Really, I have to do this because our room closes at 10:30. And I am always a woman of my word. And today we went over. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you all started leaving, I would have got a clarity around that. But nobody was leaving, so we're good. And I would like to extend this to 2 more minutes, if everybody's with me. And if you're not, please feel free to go. But this is about service and love. And the door's always open. And we're always here, whether we hear it or we see it or we don't. And what I'd like to do is just take 2 minutes in silence. And so I'm going to turn off my screen, and you all can turn off your screens. And if you leave, know we love you. And if you're staying, we're just going to get quiet and think about all those beautiful people that have passed, all the people that are still with us that need support, and all these people right here in the rooms that are opening their hearts to service and love. So for today,
I love you all, and thank you for having me.
I love you, Rob.